Good morning, Mayor. Good morning, Council. Thanks for allowing me to come in. I do want to start off by saying go Astros. I've been getting harassed by 3 chiefs in the Dallas Metroplex area, but we're going to quiet them tonight. But just want to move through a number of slides to discuss our third quarter report on our crime stats. But I do want to say this, because Mayor and this City Council, I know that some of you, when I get up to do this again, because we'll probably be in December or January, I want to thank each and every one of you. And I don't want it to ever be lost. A council that is smart and tough on crime. We've been through so much in this city in these last couple of years with the backlog and all the other challenges that we have. But with your support, each and every one of you, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart, and I want to say that because sometimes it gets lost in transaction. Thank y'all. Thank you for what y'all do for the men and women on the front line. And I also want to say, I'm getting ready to run through a few stats, but let's not ever forget, and this is to our public, our beautiful public in this Houston area. Never forget about those men and women on the front line, and always give them credit for what they're doing. And I mean our support staff and our frontline staff. But just want to go through a few crime trends, operational challenges and success, and the diversity and recruitment. Next slide. These are the numbers that we have for our third quarter, and I'm going to run down it. Murder, down 17.95%. Rape, up 1.8%. Robbery, down 10.35%. Aggravated assaults, which includes shootings, down 10.4%. Kidnappings, down 3.58%. Human trafficking, down 13%, 13.79%. Overall violent crime, down 9.64%. Property crimes, burglary, down 6.34%. Theft, down 7.92%. Auto theft, up 15.1%. And that's evident around the nation right now. Total nonviolent crime is down 3.89%. Total crime is down 5.07%. Those are the numbers. Now, I received in the last, I guess, week, and I was out of town last week in major city chiefs, a number of media outlets have been calling about stats on shootings, non-fatal and fatal shootings. Let me tell you something, because the mayor and all of our city council members have said, and certainly the police chief, too many guns in the wrong hands of people in our city. And that's a fact. And these numbers are maybe just a day or two off. 85% of all our homicides in our city, gunshots. Okay? Year to date, 879 shootings in our city, both fatal and non-fatal. Good news is we're headed in the right direction. All shootings are down 17.02% in our city. Next slide, please. We need help from the citizens and everyone. We average about 3,500 guns stolen from cars each year. Year to date, there's been almost 3,000 guns stolen from cars. We can't keep putting guns in the hands of criminals in our city. So I'm asking citizens, please, buy the safe. A lot of council members, and I want to thank y'all for providing the safes, and we're giving them free. But spend a little bit of extra money or come by when we put that out and get a safe and keep the guns from getting stolen out of your vehicles. Something that I said that last month that I would do a report on, a report card, what I call is pursuits. You know, last month, September 14th, we changed our policy. Before that, year to date, there were 1,360 vehicle pursuits, 526 collisions, 188 injuries, 4 deaths. So we were forced to change the policy. But in this city, as I said in the press conference, violent individuals commit crimes in those vehicles, drive-by shootings, everything. So we can't just totally abandon the pursuits, but we are working smarter. We are bringing more management to those pursuits. So, let's say next slide, I'm sorry. In 30 days, because of this policy and the leadership of those frontline supervisors and the collective team, and I want to acknowledge our union. They were steadfast and right there with us in drafting and crafting this policy to make it better. 40% fewer pursuits in just 30 days. 35% fewer collisions in just 30 days. 35% more pursuits terminated by those officers who are involved in the pursuit and supervisors. So that's good news. I want to talk briefly about a few successful operations that we've had that's been driving down crime. I want to first talk about, and I've talked about it in a prior press conference with our federal partners, but the U.S. Attorney's Office, Southern District. I want to thank them. I want to thank the U.S. Department of Justice, the Attorney General himself, for sending 5 federal prosecutors down here in Houston to help us fight violent crime and violent gangs. To this date, we have dismantled, and so let me take away the dismantle because they pop up again, totally disrupted. At least 3 to 4 major gangs, and these guys are very violent. Almost 77 federal prosecutors, a little bit over 77 federal prosecutions because of that great work. And we're just getting started. And I want that message to be strong to everyone, all our citizens, but mainly those individuals who are committing crime in the area. And we're taking their tools away from them, pill pressing mills, that they pressing and producing fentanyl and all that craziness. So we've also, in those operations, we've seized 110 guns. So we are policing in this city, and we're going to continue to police in this city. I also want to look at and acknowledge the great work of our frontline people on Midtown. Midtown. When you go and you drive through there, everybody saw that report. Drive through there now. Look at the Bissonnette corridor. Drive through there now. Now, we understand that there's displacement, but my teams, our teams, are working to make sure that we stop that displacement. We can displace them out of our city, because I'm not responsible for what's outside this city, but we're going to work hard in the city. All blocks are important. When I was in Major City Chiefs just last week, I saw a coffee shop owner, small, in Third Ward. I think that's Councilmember Shabazz, that's your area. She said that her shop had been burglarized 8 times over in the 9 years, I think. That's important. Every block is important. And she said that she probably have to close down, but I haven't talked to her yet. But I'm going to have coffee with her in her shop because this is Houston. And we all work together to prevent businesses from closing down. And I'm going to stand strong with her. So I just wanted to mention that because I think it's very important. I want to also talk about diversity and recruiting. We're 6,223 strong right now with HPD. That includes 5,133 classified, 200 cadets are in our academy right now, 878 civilians. At the conclusion of Mayor Turner's administration, you would have brought in almost 2,500 cadets. To this date, you've brought in 2,328 cadets. That's most in anybody's administration, I think, other than, I forgot her name, but she's been 2 years more than you did, okay?
Yeah, Whitmire.
Whitmire. All right, thank you. Also, the attrition rate, where when you came in office, Mayor, it was 38.5% of the classified staff were eligible for retirement. We're getting a little bit younger. It's 27.9% right now. But what I'm most proud of in our academy right now, and it's unlike any major city in Houston, I met with the chiefs last week, and I talked to them about this. Of those cadets, and thank y'all for the $10,000 signing bonus because it helps, okay? The diversity in that academy right now, 25% females. The national average is 14%. We're at 17% here in Houston right now. But in our academy, 25% females. That is huge. 24% black, 33% Hispanic, 34% white, 9% Asian. Those numbers represent who we are, and that represents our community. So I just wanted to stop by and give a quick report on the numbers of crime in our city, because sometimes in this season, people forget about the numbers. And I only report the numbers from HPD, and I'm very transparent, and I'm never going to play around with the numbers. If we make a mistake on something, I'll be first to tell you and step up and say, you know what, I made a mistake on those numbers. So remember one thing before I step down. Please give our men and women credit. And when you see them out there, please thank them. They do a lot, and our team, I wouldn't trade them for anything. And this is the best city in the world. And I stand here with honor today, and I'm looking straight at my mayor. That's my mayor. Nobody understands the nights, the mornings, where you don't sleep. And I'm getting calls, he's getting calls. Thank you for who you are. Thank each and every one of you for who you are. I brag on y'all everywhere I go, and I mean that. And I hope we set a model here in Houston. No matter what's going on in our city, no matter what the challenges is, no matter our differences, we work together for the better of this city. We set the legacy. And never let anybody break that. But I'm a little fired up today. I want this energy to flow to our Astros. But I'm proud. I'm very proud. This is my city. This is our city, and I love it. And I know it's going to be changes, but I hope it's for the better. But thank y'all. Thank you for the great support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me thank you, Chief Fenner, and your executive team, your command staff.
I'm sorry.
All of the police officers that are on the street, the civilians. I want to thank all of you for the work that you all have done. And I do think it's important to highlight the numbers, because when crime was soaring in the city, people highlighted the numbers. And they highlighted the numbers almost every single day. Almost every single day. And that's what people were getting on television, in newspapers, because people were highlighting the numbers. It is unfortunate that when the numbers are trending in the right direction, people don't highlight what's happening in those trends. I do want to underscore, and oftentimes when we look at the percentages, we miss the numbers. But when you compare the homicides, the murders, to last year, based on what you presented, you're talking about 63 fewer homicides in comparison to 2022. Now that's significant, 63. But if you can look at the 2021 numbers, because I see these numbers every morning, when you look at the 2021 numbers in homicide, 94 fewer homicides than in 2021. Now I want that to sink in. 94 fewer homicides than in 2021. 63 fewer homicides than in 2022. And 22 was better than 21. And 23 is better than 22, and substantially better than 21. And I don't want us to just gloss over the shootings, because people will say, well, Mayor, they're shooting, they're just not dying. Well, based on the numbers that you are presenting, 17% fewer shootings taking place in the city of Houston. That's significant. That's significant. So when people are talking about what they're going to do to address crime, what more are you going to do than what we are doing right now? Other than flap your lips. What more are you going to do? So I want to thank Chief. I want to thank HPD. I want to thank the men and women in blue, because it is important that we acknowledge the work and the success, along with the community as a whole. But it is important that we look at the numbers to see what the numbers are saying. And I think we all acknowledge that if one person is victimized by a crime, it's one too many. We all recognize that. We all recognize that. But these are signs that we are trending in the right direction and getting back to the 2019, where we were in 2019. So I want to thank you and underscore the importance of that. And I also want to say, when people say we're going to hire more police, well, we brought on about 25. We'll be bringing on about 2,500, already over 2,300. How many more are you going to do, and tell us how you're going to do it? Okay? So by the end of this term, we would have brought on more than 2,500 new cadets to HPD. And the only mayor in the last 40 years that has done more would be Mayor Catherine Whitby. She was here for 10 years. Okay? So again, I want to thank you and the entire team for what's taking place. Councilmember Kamen.
Thank you, Mayor. Chief is Chair of Public Safety. I want to thank you and the entire team. At Council, at the committee, Mayor, last month we did an entire term review of all that's been done. I mean, body-worn camera policy, increasing domestic abuse response team funding, victim services improvements, our camera and lighting ordinances, catalytic converter ordinance, license plate readers, tackling street racing, outdoor music ordinance, vehicle pursuit policies, which I know Councilmember Evan Shabazz was very committed to, a BYOB ordinance, increasing crisis intervention teams and crisis diversion. I mean, there is a whole list, and that's just, Mayor, the headlines, right? But behind the scenes, so much has been done and accomplished despite and in light of a pandemic and a bunch of other factors outside of the city's control. The fact that attrition is down nearly 10%. That's a big deal. So I wanted to first and foremost say thank you.
Thank you.
If you can, because one of the criticisms I think we have heard, and I have several questions, Mayor, I may need to get back in queue, but one of the criticisms that we've heard is related to response times. Can you address, though, some of the misnomers within that?
Absolutely. We're doing just as and better than most major cities in our response time. Code 1s and Code 2s, we're either leading or right there with them, but I always want to improve. We're always looking at ways to improve, but where we fall off, just like other major cities, we run 1.2 million calls a year. When you have the lower priority calls, that's when people really get upset. With a call, an issue, a crime that's already occurred, like a theft or something. Then we got to get to all the in-progress calls. So we're going to be more transparent with that and get that on the dashboard, so people can, and I can look at it every month, which I do. But I think it's important that council members and citizens, they can see it. And when things come up, because sometimes people have their own agendas, and I'm not negative or positive. Their agenda is their agenda, and we address it. But when you're looking for something and it's already out there, you really don't have a story. So that's the kind of department that I want to be in. We're working on technology that's coming in that's going to better help us to get those stats out there and different things. But no, we're doing all right. But all right is not good enough for Chief and my team. We want to be the best. And I think that's what you strive to do. I don't care if it's responding to calls, your response time, reducing crime. I simply want to be the best. I'm very competitive, and my team is. So thank you for asking.
Right, and I appreciate that and the clarification about where we stand, doing better than most major cities, and how we calculate response times can be different depending on the city. You brought up technology, and our computer-aided dispatch is coming. That's going to be helping, and I want to highlight whether it passes today or next week, our records management system, Mayor, which has been a priority for HPD, for me, for you, which will change the way in which we are able to police in so many ways, including I'm grateful that you have the numbers today. 85% of all homicides are gun related. And
that it may be off 1 or 2 points, but it's right there.
And our RMS system, though, is going to enable us to really hone in and fine tune so that we can be addressing those at a much more specific level. I want to thank you all for the partnership. When I came to you all and came to Chief Satterwhite, and we came up with, Lock It Up Safe, and what's been done since then, I truly believe is saving lives, and we need more of it, but I want to thank you all for that partnership. When it comes to the technology that we're harnessing, I would simply ask, Mayor, because we're coming up on the end of this term, as more technology is coming online, Chief, I know you are working on solidifying rules and policies, just as we have with a lot of other things related to cameras and surveillance. So I want to make sure that we're bringing attention to that, and my appreciation for all of the partnerships. Anytime I have brought something to y'all have looked at it, and y'all have found a way to move something forward. And Mayor, One Safe Houston is working. The numbers speak for themselves, but I think that the stories behind it, the work that goes behind it, not just the funds that were put behind it, are making Houston the leader when it comes to addressing crime in the United States.
Thank you for your support, Councilwoman.
Thank you. Before we go to the next person, I want to recognize the Willow Rock Girl Scout Troop. If you're here, please stand. The Willow Rock Girl Scout Troop. And their leaders are Tiffany Love and is that Dorlyn Robinson? Thank you all for being here this morning, okay? Courtney Johnson Rose, is she back there? Yes, she is. Oh, your daughter's in that troop. Okay, thank you all. Good to see everybody. All right, Councilmember Carolyn Evans Shabazz.
Thank you, Mayor. I was a Girl Scout. First I want to thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Chief Fenner, for this amendment of this police pursuit policy. I reached out, and thank you, Councilmember Kamen, for highlighting that. That was so very important because, of course, I had a constituent who died as a result of a police pursuit. But I really thank you for your response. I want people to know that this didn't come about because the death of Pastor Collins and the police sergeant's mother. This is something that has been in the works, and it doesn't happen overnight, but it happened. Mm-hmm. And I am so very happy to be a part of it. But certainly, I want people to know that we are not going soft on crime. We're just pursuing more safely. And if you know, most of the pursuits start in the African American and the Latino communities. And so I'm just going to advise those that are thinking of running and that is not a good decision, and it could be your last decision. So do not think that they will not get you. They just may operate more safely so that they can get you at another time, because we are not going to tolerate what you are doing in this city to impact our citizens. And so I want to also thank you for your response to Midtown. and lowering of the crime that is going on there. Of course, we have a police station there, and we have people that are getting off the bus that may be coming from the penal institutions. I certainly have spoken with Commander Collins to see if we could set up something maybe in the bus station, because they can become victims themselves, coming into a city, a big city with no money and no resources. And so that's something that she and I have spoken about, and maybe we could speak further about it, because it's very important, because they can very well end up back into the criminal justice system or become victims themselves. And so I thank you for that as well. And finally, I want to certainly speak about Argina Keener, who is the owner of Caffeine Coffee. I can't imagine the devastation, but we as citizens, we're going to have to protect. We're in the district of destination, so we have a lot of people who want to have businesses, but we're going to have to help protect them as well. If we see things, we need to say something, because it is devastating, especially to small business owners who are trying to operate, and someone is coming in, breaking into their establishments. And so I thank you for all of the protection, and every man and woman who has dedicated their lives for this. I can't imagine a life without police officers. And so I want to personally thank you and the HPD department for all that you do.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
support.
Councilmember Gallegos.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
I heard you say you stand there proudly, and rightfully so, you should, because you've done an outstanding job, and HPD continues to do an outstanding job. As you know, there's about 5,200 officers patrolling over 640 some odd square miles in our city, and that's divided amongst 3 shifts. So y'all are doing an outstanding job. I know that Council just approved a $1 billion budget this past for HPD this past July. And to hear people out there just saying whatever they want to say in regards to crime, basically stating that crime is rampant across our city, is very disheartening. And I'm sure that affects the morale of HPD officers. To know that they are out there every single day, every night, patrolling to make our city safe. And what they don't need to hear is from candidates saying that crime is rampant across the city. Candidates saying that we don't do anything. Speaking for myself as a district council member, I have given monies from my district service funds to help the divisions that are in my district for services that they may need. I know other council members around this horseshoe do the same. And like the mayor stated, there's a lot of officers that have been hired here in the city of Houston, but yet you have people out there claiming that we are not doing anything. And it's very disheartening, very affecting the morale of our HPD officers. And that's not right. Because again, y'all are doing an outstanding job with the resources you have. So thank you. Thank you for everything you do, and thank you for HPD for everything that they do as well.
Thanks for your support.
Thank you, Councilmember Gallegos. Councilmember Thomas.
Thank you so much. Mayor Turner, I've shared this with you publicly, but I want to thank you for keeping public safety first. When many U.S. mayors chose to do different things, I want to thank you for keeping that as a top priority in your administration, and also for my colleagues, for us having rigorous conversation from 2020, 2021, doing that work, challenging HPD to come higher, to do different things, to have public-facing information and all of that. But I also want to thank you for Bissonnette Corridor. I know my colleague is not here, and we share Bissonnette. I exit Bissonnette in the Beltway every day to go home, and it has been transformed. Mayor Turner and Councilmember Pollard has done a wonderful job, but that job would not be complete without West Side and Midwest HPD.
Yes.
And without your leadership being committed to that area. Business owners feel safer now. Residents that have been there for a very long time. And so changing the narrative of that community has been paramount, and I know that it's not done. More work will continue to happen, but as someone that lives over there, I can tell you what it looks like. So I want to thank you for that. Secondly, I just want to point to homelessness in the city. I am often resistant to reach out to DRT to address those issues around homelessness because we do have priorities that supersede that. Can you talk to us about how y'all are working with mitigating that as
Please.
we have our own coordinated approach in the city? Thank
Please
you.
reach out to our DRT units. Don't think that they're too busy. That's so we're there. Also, our homeless outreach teams. We're working on a number of locations in the city, and it's mayor's goal and most city council members to get individuals into permanent housing. But we're dealing with drug dependency. We're dealing with mental illness, and it's nothing against the law to be homeless. But I always say this: we all still have to be good neighbors, including the homeless. And when they're impacting in a negative way a community, we got to step in and help them to help themselves. So please call it in. We're working on a property. I forgot the block number on West Hammer right now. It's behind a convenience store, and several homeless individuals have set up tents, and they're coming in, and other street people that put themselves in the middle of homeless people, selling drugs and causing problems. So those things, the quicker we find out about them, we want to work on them, and we'll use every resource that we have. We are one of few in the nation that has a whole unit that's geared to mental health and homeless. So we put a lot of resources out there, so just please reach out to us.
And let me close with this. I want to tell you that it's working. My staff and I, we visited every encampment in District F and with the mayor's advisor for homelessness, Mark Eichenbaum, and they said that they had already been assessed by the homeless outreach team for housing.
Right.
So just to be able to spot check and know that it was already happening just reinforces what's already in place. So I just want to thank you for that, and publicly thank you for taking pride in your work and representing us very well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Cisneros.
Thank you, Chief. I heard you say that you brag on us when you are out. And I want to say, you're already hearing a lot of appreciation from this horseshoe, but I brag on you too. Your commitment to always striving to be the best, your heart for people, your inspirational leadership of HPD. Thank you for all that. And then I wanted to go back to the third quarter operational successes you highlighted. One of them was the Bissonnette corridor, and you did mention that there had been displacement as you've dismantled the problems there. Some of that prostitution popped up, in other places. One of them was in District H in the Northline area.
Yes.
And I want to thank you, and Mayor, I want to go back to numbers, talking about specific numbers again, because it's already had a huge impact, even though this is still a relatively new operation. We already see that there have, and that is a week old, so maybe it's more now, but there've already been 213 felony charges and 75 misdemeanor charges so far. And the community sees it. We are hearing that from the residents that live up there, and I'm so grateful, for stepping in and following up, as part of the Bissonnette corridor, stamping it out where they're trying to find new places to go. Thank you for that. And a big part of that is the community engagement piece, and we're working closely with your officers to make that effective. There is a Concha with the Cop coming up event. I'll talk more about that later, but just thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Councilmember Kubash.
Chief Fenner, I appreciate your service to our city. I'm sure by now you've been one of my first choices a long time ago for our chief, and then when the mayor put you up, I was certainly happy to see that. I fly in and out of Chicago quite a bit because my grandchildren, and I've had two young grandsons go to the military, up the Great Lakes Military Navy Base. And while I was there this week, I heard the mayor of Chicago on a public service announcement in the airport. About every hour, it would run a very short announcement welcoming me to Chicago. And then when I went to leave, he was doing it again and welcoming me and talking about how good Chicago is. And I thought, wow, I got to tell the mayor about that because he can tell everybody leaving and coming how great Houston is. Then when I heard you speak, I like it when you tell us that you want to keep us safe. I like hearing that. And to have the chief of police on a public service announcement tell us at the airport that you're here and we have a force that's here to protect you and to keep you safe. I like that reassuring feeling. And I never thought much about the mayor of Chicago until he welcomed me so many times. So anyway, I just thought, so I've also just now told the mayor that he needs to run a public service announcement in our airports. Thank you very much for your service.
Thank you, Councilman.
Vice Mayor Pro Tem Cato.
Thank you, Mayor. Chief Fenner, we appreciate all the work that you and the men and women of HPD do day in and day out. But I wanted to just specifically say thank you for the willingness of your team to work alongside council members. What you've heard consistently from council members is that when we have an idea of something that pops up in our communities, your team is right there working those specific issues right beside us. In District K, we were very concerned about fireworks and gunfire during the holidays, and we worked with the HPD team at the Southwest Command Station and the Gessner Station to do a hot spot team for the holidays, and it was very successful. They worked overtime, and they were out there patrolling the streets during the holiday season to discourage people from popping the fireworks and shooting their guns in the air. And I hope that we will continue to do that. But I wanted to just specifically say thank you for hearing our ideas that come from our constituents and working with us to solve the issues that are of concern to them in their specific neighborhoods. And then I can't say enough about our monthly PIP meetings. And the reason that they are so important is because we encourage our constituents to go to those meetings so they can get firsthand information about these same statistics in their immediate neighborhoods so that they have the facts and that can counter the false narrative that sometimes is out in our city, fear-mongering and making people afraid, and go to the station where they can meet the commander and the police officers who are working their beats and working in their neighborhoods and bringing those specific concerns right to them and getting solutions month after month. So I didn't want this opportunity to pass us by without you being able to hear firsthand that those programs work and how much we appreciate the willingness of those commanders and the chiefs and everyone who works alongside the council offices to solve those problems that come up from our constituents. So we appreciate the work that you're doing, and God bless you, and may God continue to watch over the city and all who serve.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
your support.
Councilmember Huffman.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you, Chief. I just wanted to briefly say that District G this month is starting a Uptown initiative around the Galleria area with Central and Midwest officers, as well as HPD crime suppression team and the HOT team. And so I just want to thank you for your support in that program. We're looking forward to it.
Thank you, Councilmember Plummer.
Thank you, Mayor Turner, and I want to join my colleagues and the entire city in thanking you as well, but specifically for your innovative approach and being open, for the department to be open to looking at different ways to heal the city of Houston from a public safety perspective. So I want to thank you for that. You mentioned about the mental health issues that we see. Could you talk a little bit, just very briefly, about how successful our MCOT teams and our CERT teams are?
I think they're very successful, and thank to OneSafe and an additional funding. But for us to have a number of programs where we can respond to those individuals, first of all, in crisis, our CERT teams, where you have a clinician in the car with the patrol officer, and they can go and if there's danger, they can go and lend some support and help to that individual. But MCOP, when there's no violence and you can just, we don't need to send police when we don't need to send police. So that's great. The other program where we got 80 laptops out in the field, and when you train officers, they can connect directly to a clinician, get information on the patient, get that person help, get them to where they are. And the final program is in our emergency communication dispatch. A lot of times, if a person is in crisis, sometimes they just need somebody to talk to who's trained for that. So the resources that we put out there, and there's always improvement, but many cities, many departments come to our department every month to get training and see what we're doing here in Houston, and we want to enhance that and improve it. But The mayor says it all the time, and it's so, so true. You look at when the state of Texas is 50-51 in funding for mental health, that's a problem. The city can't. I mean, it has to be everyone, the local government, the state government, the federal government, pushing that money back in. And sometimes when we have, y'all know me, I don't do the politics too much, but when you have a surplus, look at what's going around in whatever area that you have. Look at what you can do, not for one individual. What can you do for the collective community? And that's something that I know that we're going to need help on. And then I just thank the citizens, and I thank our partners, the social service partners, and all those professions who step in to help us. So really proud of what's going on. Yeah.
Thank you, Chief. And just to wrap things up, let me just say this. Number one, I want to thank you for a very diverse command staff.
Yes.
Because we have people on the command staff, executive chief, assistant chief, command staff, that's reflective of the total community. And when we are living in times like we're living right now, that diversity is critically important.
Yes.
So I want to thank you for that. Number two, when you came in, I mean, the crime was moving in the wrong direction. Since you've been there, things have reversed, and we are trending in the right direction. So I want to thank you, because leadership is important, and who's in these positions is important, and the numbers are reflective of the positive things that are happening at HPD and in our community as a whole. Because not only are you leading HPD, but you're also interfacing with people in that community. So you have done a Herculean job. I mean, I'm the mayor, but let me tell you, you have been an incredible chief for HPD and for the city at a very, at a time in which, I mean, things are going in so many directions across the country. But Houston, in terms of results, Houston is at the top of the ladder. And that doesn't happen by accident. So I want to thank you for providing incredible leadership. I want to thank you for your community engagement. I want to thank you for just being down to earth and shooting it straight. I want to thank you for staying away from the politics and being the police chief, okay, and allowing us to handle the politics. I want to thank you for that. But you have done and continue to do an incredible job, and quite candidly, I could not be more proud. So really appreciate you, and we're going to let you go and your command staff go so y'all can continue to do what you've already been doing, and so that you can bring me in 2 months from now some even better numbers, from better numbers. But thank you.
Thank y'all. Thank you very much. Thank y'all. Thank y'all.